And we've got all the newspapers splayed out before us. We're ready to get into them. But Mama B.
Hello there.
Hello.
Enjoyable?
Yes, definitely. Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's got to be Woodine and it's got to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Red looks good on you.
But the two of you, you refuse to rock your Woodine.
Oh, we don't refuse.
Yeah, you have.
We don't refuse.
You have. I like to say thank you and acknowledge the designer of this costume. Fabric from Woodine, Le Créateur, designed by Ajua Yeboah Clothing. Just check her out. She's on Instagram, Facebook. It's simply Ajua Yeboah Clothing. Get her contact and give her a call. Yeah, my normal Ajua. But you know this.
The normal one. ADJ,
you know, Woodine is.
Yeah, we have ADJ and AD.
Telling you something.
Yeah.
Yes, you were saying.
To impress your women.
Yes,
Woodine has this new line of fabric, like this one. It looks really different and very colorful. So just get into any Woodine store and grab something.
We want to impress our women? You mean Woodine is for women, basically?
No, I didn't say that. But you guys, if you want to, guys struggle with getting the appropriate gifts for women. I'm just showing you the light. Small.
I think I'm one of the few.
You
will be surprised.
Stiff, no ideas.
He struggles to get a gift. Period, not appropriate gift.
If you know.
So I'm giving you one little idea today.
Just
enter the Woodine store and grab something. Also for men, you know.
Yeah.
So So thanks to Woodine for the fabric. And thanks to Ajua Yeboah Clothing, my designer. I'm going to be posting the pictures. If you want her to do a similar thing for you, I don't mind. Just give her a call. All right, now let's do the newspapers. Why y'all looking at me like that? You know?
Are you sure you don't mind?
Oh no, I don't mind. That's cool. I don't mind.
You look beautiful, like one of the NaBCo ladies I saw yesterday.
I don't recall any of the NaBCo ladies looking.
Yeah, because you were in the studio. You were not there. We were there live. So we're
still
all beautiful.
Say thank you.
I've never seen young people,
I'll still say
getting government employment so beautiful like yesterday. All the NaBCo ladies. Good morning.
Hey, Roland.
What did you fall in love there?
I said I was admiring women. How can I fall in love with other women there? Oh, Charlie.
Well, if anybody has the capacity.
Look at you people. You know me.
Oh gosh. Well, NaBCo is all over the newspapers. Every paper's talking about it. Let's see what we've got in here. I'll have a look at the Daily Guide and the Finder. Somebody commented that they don't hear us reviewing the Herald anymore. Well, it's just because we don't send it to us.
We don't get the Herald.
You know, send it to us. We'll review it. Aye. So I've got these two. What have you got?
I'll do the Times and the Graphic. I am very traditional.
Yeah, I know.
That means you are.
It's not traditional, conservative.
Avant-garde.
Am I?
Mama B is not conservative. She has some very radical left-wing ideas as well.
That's conservatism.
Right-wing is conservative. Anyway, Daily Guide has these. 100,000 youth grab NaBCo jobs, banner headline. Rawlings rejects Ahoy's for NDC running mate. And AG files 127 documents in Senate boss trial.
Rawlings, last time he said some people have been dyeing their hair wearing yombo. Just because they want to be running it. No, I agree.
Right, on the back page, some interesting sports stories. Razak denies Kotoko offer. Management member requested 20,000 euros for Stars call-up. Really? And NC cries for cash. That's the normalization committee. I want you to lead Fenerbahce, Dede Ayew has been told. And GBF to celebrate Ambassador Kwaku. Okay, and Business Finder today has these 3 billion Ghana cedi NaBCo seed, a guarantee for Ghana's future growth and development. That's what the president is saying. Manuato.
All right, so we have daily.
So I'm going to do the Daily Graphic and the Ghanaian Times, and I'll start off with the Times. So front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Achieving Ghana beyond aid, rely on local land surveyors. Also on the front page, by way of headlines, Maiden NaBCo kicks off. President inducts first batch of 100,000 personnel. SNIT's $66 million contract case adjourned to December 14. Back page of the paper, Wa East bans illegal felling of rosewood, and Ghana earns $2.557 billion from non-traditional exports. That's what's on the back page of the paper. In the center spread, NCC GJ chapter enrolls on GJ Group welfare policy, and pictures of the passing out ceremony of NaBCo yesterday in the center spread of the Times. Now let's move on and do the Daily Graphic newspaper front page. Hope for Youth, pioneers of NaBCo starts work. Talo supports free SHS with $10 million. Sword cards for Kwafo Chrome, Apeja Road dualization. So that headline is on the front page of the paper. And on the back page, 6 die in Sablugu Nantom flats, 2,459 others displaced. Also, fire guards parts of Old Fadama in Accra. We see there's some residents clearing debris after the fire outbreak. That's the inserts on the back page. Center spread, government asked to fast-track establishment of local airline. Teach students homegrown business modules. That's in quotes. SAA host travel agents at Ada. Another center spread story in the Daily Graphic newspaper. All right, Roland? We'll do the Daily Dispatch and the Statesman.
So let's look at the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Front page, Suba settles court case with government, will receive 124.4 million Ghana cedis. Main story, result of iPoll survey ending October 7, 2018 is indicating that 73% like free SHS, but 60% against double track. Okay. Deceit leading to Unibank takeover. Dufour Jr. sues KPMG. See back page. In the UK, there's a case of KPMG. They're liable to pay some $7 million. They asked by a court to pay $7 million and some damages there. Some liabilities they have. Back page, all the stories there, well enumerated. On page 10 of the Daily Dispatch newspaper is a feature story called for the BBC. It says that woman paralyzed after being catapulted off bed during sex. I'll tell you more about it.
Of course you will.
Yeah. Should I go ahead? Okay. A woman left paralyzed. Should I go ahead?
You don't need
headlines.
You don't need my permission. Do it.
Headlines.
You're already
Okay,
in
so
it. You're already in there.
Let's look at. Oh, wait. Sorry. Sex. The Daily Statesman newspaper. NaBCo should inspire hope. President urges 100,000 young trainees. I love them. I love the t-shirt they were wearing, and all the girls in the beautiful girls. Look at this one.
You keep talking about girls.
Did you not?
Some of them.
I thought it was a passing out ceremony.
Some of them could be my children. You know, I'm just commending my children.
About the boys.
Some of them, many of them, I think 90% of them qualify to be.
Okay, please move on.
My children. So, gold refinery initiative due for takeoff. Okay, and you have the chief executive officer of the PMMC, Kwejo Opare Hammond, behind the person speaking in that picture there. And the First Lady has commissioned the Cape Coast Obstetrics and Gynae Center. I don't know whether it's at...
yes, in Cape Coast.
Okay, so let's look at the stories in detail.
Okay, well, I guess the big one is NaBCo, right? You guys were both there. Well, Roland missed quite a bit of it because he was busy looking at the ladies.
Girls.
Yeah, looking at the girls.
I said they can pass on as my kids, so I was looking at my children.
Hello.
How they've been employed by President Nana Danko Akufo-Addo. We have to commend him though. Great initiative. Now we have 3 billion to be devoted for the whole exercise. The young girls are...
I'm opening my mouth, but nothing is coming out. Like, you're unbelievable this morning.
No, it's because I'm taking the win out of your sales.
Whatever, okay.
3 billion, that's quite a commitment. That was 70 million a month for the next 3 years.
700?
700 million
a year.
Oh, you're breaking it down like that.
Okay,
I thought you were talking about the stipends.
Oh yes, 700 cedis a month for each of them comes up to about 70 million a month for 100,000 people. Look, it's a massive commitment on the part of government. It's an idea that came up earlier this year. They were going to do something else, but apparently the Vice President's office came up with this suggestion. They put the numbers together and it seemed very doable, so they immediately moved to make it happen. I'm not sure, something to do with volunteerism or something like that. Some other scheme that they were hoping to use to incentivize young people to do something rather than stay at home without a job. So they worked out the numbers. This seemed to work. Private sector can plug into it as well, get some cheap labor. First year, government will pay. Second year, they will split the 700 a month. And then in the third year, private sector takes over and pays them 700 a month.
But if the private sector takes over, would they be able to absorb the numbers? Would we get
no? So if, for example, if it's for 3 years for each person, so if I take you, I have you for 3 years in my company. So but the first year, government will pay for your salary. Second year will split, and in the third year I will pay it. Yeah.
So look, national service in the third year.
Yeah. Now let's not mince words, and let's say this and put it out of the way first, so that when we are being analytical, nobody accuses us of being political. Look, this is good. Let's be clear. 100,000 people who didn't have a job, who didn't have anything at all to look forward to, well, from now on, if this works, every month they'll get 700 cedis. They'll do something positive to contribute to society, and of course, industry benefits from them. And 3 years from now, they have experience, valuable experience, with which they become even more competitive in the job market. This is a good idea. Okay, let's not criticize that. But let's ask questions about the detail. Yesterday, I spoke to the Deputy Minister for Employment, and he didn't even know when the first payments will be made, whether they will be paid at the end of October, end of November. It's clear that the people who were marching yesterday, none of them have actually been placed at specific organizations yet. They've been assigned to the 7 modules, but none of them has been given a place to work yet. So please, it's fair for us to ask some questions, isn't it? When will that happen? When will the first payments be made? Will everybody get paid, or will it be those who have been placed by that date? Will there be some people who have not yet been placed but will still get paid? Please, let's ask these questions. Let's ask how well has this been planned? The idea came up just this year, so have we dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's? Are we ready to go with this? Is it too late for us to make inputs to make it even better? These are the questions on my mind. How about you?
Yeah, I think that it's a laudable initiative. The questions have been about how they do the transition, and would we, based on what we've had in the past. And yesterday I was asking Upon Kroma, and he said that, well, the sectors that are being developed, for which government is investing in, we have the One District, One Factory initiatives. Independently also, the economy is improving by way of the macroeconomic statistics we're getting, or the indicators, and so it's going to trickle into establishment of industries by private enterprise, and ultimately by the end of the third year, the first batch should be having some avenues to do the transition. So I think that's a good thing. We need to do the interlinkages, because right from the educational institutions, we don't have industry making input into curricula. We don't also tend to have industry input into what space they have, what would they need by way of the human resource, so that we feed into the vacuum or the empty spaces that industry would need. And I think that those are the things that we need to do. We've had precedents with the JIDA, NYEP, in which we've paid money to people, but at the end of the day, what skills do they have? More so, what employable skill do they have?
Well, a few things, and I try to find some answers.
But I think it's commendable.
So how do we ensure that after 3 years, people will not continue to be on the program
whilst they've transitioned elsewhere?
Exactly, and be receiving the monthly stipends. They say they've launched a certain app, so there's going to be digitally controlled. Another thing is, I was seeing all these young people excited about this program, and I was thinking, in the next year or two, would we find these same people hitting the streets and either asking for more money or saying that they haven't been paid.
Mm.
You know.
And
I think that's a supposition we can ask, but we cannot.
But no, I mean you can be. It's just that we've seen too many of these things happening over the period, so you tend to kind of ask.
Yeah.
But let's also, that's a very good question actually, and let's also ask, what if, assuming it all goes smoothly, and somebody is working, and after a year and a half they decide, well, I want to go elsewhere.
Yeah, you just leave. You leave. Yes.
Okay, then that's an interesting and important.
So you can be finding, you can be looking for a more permanent job whilst you're on this.
But that's an important question then. So for the private sector, if I'm coming to take somebody, I pick someone, he's very skilled, I train him, he's doing a job for me, and then he decides to leave.
Well, that's the whole idea, so that it can also create room for them to get other people. So essentially they want to give them experience. So they don't mind at all that after maybe 6 months or a year, you say, oh, I got a job, so I'm leaving.
But you have to bear in mind, the private sector doesn't work for government, okay? It's their own, they are in for profit.
You're talking about somebody working in the private sector, or you're talking about somebody on the Nation Builders Corps who's decided after a while that I'm leaving.
Yes. So some of the NaBCo beneficiaries will be posted to the private sector. There's an enterprise module where the private sector will be able to take some of them to come and work for them. And that's what we're talking about, the first year.
So that's what you mean by after a while the person wants to leave?
No, that's what I'm asking about.
Even for all the modules, they could do some transition, or perhaps they could be co-opted to work for, or posted to work for private institutions.
So it's not just the enterprise module.
But even the private people should be challenged by this. If you think I'm really good, then pay me more and take me.
Yeah. But that's not the only point. These are jobs that the private sector is being encouraged to create because NaBCo exists. Until NaBCo was set up, the private sector was not going to go and pick graduates and pay them.
No, they do pick national service personnel.
Yes.
So they will certainly have a need.
So if national service
No, if you pick national service, you pay them.
The private sector pays them.
Yes.
Okay, very good. But it's what you call it's cheap labor, and it's for a year, right? Okay, but if you take someone for 3 years, you train them for 6 months, and then they leave. It's a cost to the company.
Would they leave? It's also a question we have to ask. But could they also be absorbed?
So make the conditions better for them if you need them.
Asking, what is the arrangement between government and industry?
I think it's a useful question.
You know, what is the arrangement? If somebody leaves, what happens? Will you bring a new person?
I think that also brings to the core issue I'm raising about the coordination, because what we have found absent in our world, in this part of the whole world that we live in, is the lack of coordination. The coordination is not derived from the training level, from the time we're born, up to the time that we have to absorb people who are of employable age into society. And the society just does not mean that they are roaming the street, but into other skills or employment, etc. We should also bear in mind the more developed countries tend to spend more on social welfare, because they don't want to have people who are a burden or handicap to the system. Because also they want people to contribute taxes back into the economy and then find them very useful. Now, they have it all figured out. They have their system all figured out. And you just don't have the leeway to escape the net. But we just don't have an intertwined system in such a way that we're monitoring everybody, we know who can get here and all that. So we're hoping that we can get it right.
But for me, I mean, you guys were there, right? What did you think of this whole idea of assembling them all at the Independence Square?
So I asked the question, I put that question to the coordinator, Dr. Anyas. He said, oh, these are people who voluntarily decided to come from across the country to be here.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he told me. It was voluntary.
That's what Dr. Anyas said to you?
It was voluntary. They didn't force anybody to be here.
We interviewed them. We interviewed the people there. And one of them was telling us, they think this is a pointless exercise. Bringing them all the way from their homes to the Independence Square is a pointless exercise. Would he have volunteered for a pointless exercise? Dr. Anyas should perhaps clarify this one, because the people he brought are disagreeing.
But you see, the thing is, what I saw was people marching and excited.
Yes.
And these are graduates. I don't think anybody forced them to do the march.
Oh, it wasn't part of the organized program?
No, it may have been,
That's my point.
So my point is, I was seeing, and I was a bit surprised because I didn't think there was going to be like a parade, you know, that kind of thing, because I wasn't aware of how the program was going to go. So that's my question. And I was like, oh, but they don't look like they're being forced to do what they're doing.
When the children are fainting in the sun, sometimes they do it with a smart. No, Mama, I'm trying to make a point.
There's a difference.
No, I'm trying to make a point.
Make a point.
When the children are fainting in the sun.
But these people are not fainting.
I thought you said I should make the point.
Yeah, correcting me. Oh, why is that everybody? Today everybody's against me. Kojo is against me, Mama is against me.
When the children are fainting in the sun, you can't tell which of them were forced to go and stand there and which of them were excited about it. The fact that they are excited about it, well, they are being paid 700 cedis a month when they've been home for ages. So, of course, they are excited. Okay. But the question I'm asking is, when they organized it, did they include marching and why? What is
that? You're asking also, was there buying from the
What is the benefit of the marching?
I went to a certain portion of the crowd. I interacted with them. And so this is my account from what I saw on the ground.
That they look excited.
Listen, apart from the fact that they were looking, they were telling me how some of them, I mean, you could say that some of the stories are made up, whatever, but I am just recounting what they told me. People said they've been home 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, they've been looking for jobs. And even though this may not be the ultimate job, this is definitely better than them staying home. And they were happy to be there.
I understand that. Of course they are happy. If you've been home for 5 years and you get a job, even if you pay 700 cedis, you will be excited. My point is, could this not have been launched with them at home? Would they not have been excited still?
Well, lots of questions.
So why was a march organized? What is the significance of that march with the president standing up on a dais waving while people march?
Okay, we have to do other stories.
Yeah, we'll do. No, let me answer.
Review is not just on the NaBCo.
But NaBCo is big. NaBCo, we're voting 3 billion for the next. Look, the thing is that as a marketing communication person, if I was working with government, I would advise government to put on this display, because government is in a political space. It's competing with other political interests. So government needs to do the display for not only supporters, but the entire country to see that it's doing something good. The other question is, well, Kojo's point will come in as to, is it necessary and all that?
Yeah, I mean, you've taken
opinions.
3 billion of our taxpayers' money to do an initiative for people.
I would have advised government.
Different opinions. Somebody definitely had the discretion and they decided to choose what they did. But I want to share this. It's in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. It's in the Ghanaian Times. Which one is that?
They broke the bed. The bed broke somebody's spine.
Okay, fine. I'll leave you. Let's do the Daily Dispatch. Roland wants to talk about somebody breaking a certain bed. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think yours first and then the bed. We'll end with the bed.
So this is the Ghanaian Times newspaper. And this is from page 3. Another member of the Delta Force, a vigilante group linked to the New Patriotic Party, has been remanded into police custody for 1 week by a Kumasi Circuit Court. He's believed to be among the group that allegedly stormed a meeting ground of the Old Tafo constituency and chased out the Member of Parliament of the area, Dr. Anthony Akotuose. So details of that there, but just come down. 4 persons who could not produce a pasta they stood surety for at the Accra Circuit Court 9 for allegedly stealing 95,000 Ghana cedis have been given up to November 8, 2018 to produce the accused. The sureties risk paying 100,000 Ghana cedis as bail bond should they fail to produce the accused, Pastor Michael Akwa of Gbawe in the Greater Accra region, who is being tried by the court for dishonestly appropriating the aforementioned amount belonging to Mr. Cornelius Hellegbe, a plastic liner and a residence of the Pobiman, also in Accra.
Dishonestly appropriating.
Interesting details there. So you can check these stories out, yes, in the Ghanaian Times newspaper. Roland, let's talk about bed breaker.
It's about a woman who is 46 years old, who fell off her bed, which was delivered just a week before the sex act, and during the sex act fell off the bed.
Doesn't matter.
Broke her spine, got paralyzed, and now is suing the maker of the bed.
Nice.
Now, a nice quote there. He says, I fell to the side and heard what felt like a spring in my body snap.
Okay. What was the force and the weight exerted during the act meant for the... Okay, that's if did they give details of the bed? Like the maker would say, the weight shouldn't be so and so, and the force that you exert. We've got to do
a king-size bed.
We have to do some measurements.
So you know, Mama B can educate us on this, but in essence, what it will... Oh, I'm not a law student.
I am not a law student either. We're all
street lawyers.
Exactly.
Well,
one
of the arguments that they will have to make in order to prove their case is that a bed should be designed for sex to be had safely. Okay? And no matter how athletic...
This is the UK, so maybe...
Yes, no matter how athletic you get with your sex, you shouldn't hurt yourself if you are doing it on a bed. Okay? So they'll have to prove that this bed failed to meet some sexual safety standards, and as a result has caused the woman to be paralyzed. Because if it was the woman's own negligent behavior, if she went above and beyond the accepted activities of a sexual nature that a bed can contain.
What is the objective test?
She claims that two deviants which made up the base of the bed were not properly fastened together.
And who was supposed to fasten them?
And two gliders or feet were missing from the end of the bed.
A faulty bed. Okay, that might be her case.
And so, you know, her lawyer argues it was accepted that the particular circumstances of the accident seemed unusual, knowing that usually she had sex on a previous bed and did not have...
So this was
the same position.
This was the first act on the new bed?
Yes, a week after it was... well, not first, I mean.
How do you know the first act?
I don't know whether...
Maybe they had been sleeping for a week and then on that day they decided to...
Lawyers for the company, though...
Interesting case.
Lawyers for the company, though, they argue that it was properly assembled at the time of delivery, and even if the two gliders were missing, it would not have caused the bed to collapse.
Oh.
To fail. And now she's paralyzed.
So who caused the bed to collapse, according to the manufacturer? Was it the victim?
That's not stated in the story. I'm
what
guessing.
An interesting case.
The style.
Yeah.
One of these days, we should take sides on a case like this and argue for...
This will be a landmark case.
Yes.
A landmark TV case.
And then Mama B can be the judge.
Case. Oh, that would be nice.
All right,
that would be nice.
Let's look at myjournline.com.
Yeah. U.S. asks Turkey for Saudi journalist murder tape. This is one of those international diplomatic...
Wow.
Exactly. I mean, it's hard. There's a conference happening in Saudi Arabia. We know that people are pulling out because of this whole not clear. Journalist enters an embassy and then, you know, he cannot be found. And it's been, what, weeks?
There's been a leak from the Turkish authorities to the media that there is actually a tape. I think they have bugged the Saudi embassy.
I think this will happen. I'm told that he linked his iPhone watch.
Oh no, they said that's not possible.
Wow.
That was a suspicion, but then they figured out the distances and figured that it's not possible.
We're told that it's supposed to be 30 meters.
Yeah.
Or something.
So the rumor is that he was interrogated and then, you know, killed and body dismembered.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is like
Saudi Arabia,
it's like a movie.
According to the tape, they were actually butchering him while he was alive. So first they chopped off his fingers, and then I don't know what else they chopped off, but eventually they cut off his head while he was alive with a bone saw. Can you imagine? They are not cutting it off smooth, quick kilo. They are sawing it.
You know, the thing is that America is with Saudi Arabia on this. One of the things is that, you know, they buy a lot of weapons. You know how Mr. Trump has come with America first and how the American people must make money. So he doesn't joke with people who give him real money, you know?
Yeah, so it doesn't really matter who or what you are, what you do. If what you are doing benefits America.
Millions,
he says, I think this morning, the little I listened to, he sent Mr. Pompeo to Turkey and to check out, and he will come and brief him.
And we're told that Mr. Pompeo has already declared that the Saudis Innocent.
Well, while that was going on, we're
before
told that
he even went there,
we're told that there was a transit. There was a transfer of some money, 100 million. Yeah, I think to one of the companies.
These days, America is interesting. Everything that comes, all the diplomatic things, they're really interesting. But let's move on. Let's still continue to do myJoyOnline.com.
Donny T.
Yeah. Why Finnish people don't like to chat? We heard something like that about Russia, that they don't like smiling, but the World Cup was fantastic. Everybody that went there testified. So, yeah, you could read about this. My cheating boyfriend gave me HIV. Here's how I got justice. All right, you can check that out on myJoyOnline.com. Don't introduce new taxes in 2019 budget. TUC to government.
TUC didn't manage.
You'll be there.
Sometimes it's like they are sleeping, like they're taking a long nap and then they suddenly wake up.
They've made a proposal to government on the new budget. Some interesting things in there, including employment issues and all of that. Some interesting.
Well, we have NaBCo. It should be resolved.
Let's finish up, Patrick. myJoyOnline.com. Telecom tariffs to go up on November 1. We have a conversation in the studio.
I got a message from Vodafone today. I don't know whether.
Moving on. Old cars dumped in Ghana, wreaking health environment havoc.
Yeah. Wreaking is what the story wanted to say.
Exactly. So I remember when I said wrecking, then I saw Kujo's face. I said, nah. It must be wreaking. Let's move on.
Kujo's face.
When it rains, it pours and claims lives. This is a feature. Please read about it. Anchor for Psychiatric Hospital turned into sun when inside by encroachers. People are just selling off the lands. And even though they have documentation, it's like, who cares? 1 dead, 15 wounded as 2 Bnohafo towns clash.
So much lawlessness, eh?
Lots more stories. Let's do the BBC. White SA farmers killed a black boy over sunflowers. And these days in South Africa, land distribution has become a very topical issue. They say you would see at least a headline every week on this issue about redistribution.
But sunflowers, I mean, honestly? What, he picked sunflowers from their farm and they killed him? Or what? Sunflower, like how do you kill someone over sunflowers?
Okay, so this is not even related to the land issue, eh? The judge said he believed the 2 men threw the 16-year-old boy from a moving car.
Jeez.
Oh, you might want to read more of this. The midwife murders reveal brutal IS tactics in Nigeria.
Guys, talking of brutal murders, did you see the story yesterday of a grandmother who stabbed a baby and put the baby in the oven?
I won't watch
Not
that.
in Ghana, right?
Oh, no.
I won't watch that.
I think I read it in The Guardian.
Okay, and it's World Menopause Day, guys.
Yeah.
Somebody says you should say menopause like 3 times. So say it.
Menopause. Charlie,
okay.
So,
menopause.
Men and women, we all get menopause.
What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think?
Because I don't think men. So men, if we get menopause, how is it like? We're not interested in sex or what? I don't know.
Well, we get midlife crises, don't we? At a certain age, all of a sudden, we want to be young. We start wearing some jeans that our grandchildren
I think that's what you're having. I don't think many people actually, when they are growing old, don't really care about what
Oh my God, I think...
I don't have grandchildren.
No, I mean, how you would want age. Your...
Okay, so I see that we will have a menopause conversation. It's come up. Midlife crisis and menopause conversation.
That's when you take all your money and go and buy a sports car and, you start dating some young girl or something because you
I know the things you want to do.
Again.
It's all the plans that he has.
That's what midlife crisis?
Yeah, no.
That's what happens in a midlife crisis.
That's what you want to do when you get midlife.
Are you there yet?
No.
He's not there yet.
Are you there?
Midlife.
Because we went to Black Star Square
because your children,
and you were looking at
your children are in university, according to you.
Yeah.
So you are rather at midlife.
First, second year.
You are at midlife.
We have to bring you sports. Benedict is on standby. The Normalization Committee met the press for the first time. Benedict will bring us details of that, and definitely, I'm sure, some qualifiers, news on the qualifiers as well. So, stay with us.
Let me see your midlife watch.